Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our yoga class. We're going to do a gentle yoga class around the theme of the second yama. Incorporating Deborah Adele's The Yamas and Niyamas book. And the second yama is called Satya, which means truthfulness. So I'll have a little short reading on that. I love to use props in this class. So I have here next to my mat, I have blocks, a blanket, strap, chair, even a pillow for later. And then we'll start out class, I thought, with a nice gentle heart opener. So I love to bring the blanket, and remember, everything is optional. So I take the blanket and I just make a small little blanket roll, and I'm going to place that on the middle of my mat, perpendicular, so it'll go right underneath my heart center. On my sports bra, it'll be right where the band of the bra is, but that's kind of like basically mid-back underneath your heart. So you can kind of shimmy yourself out. If this feels uncomfortable, feel free to skip this part, but you can lower onto your back. You might cactus your arms out to the sides. Maybe walk your feet out and then allow your knees to relax towards each other, coming into sort of like a little teepee shape. And then remember, you're always welcome to veto anything. So if the blanket roll is uncomfortable, feel free to let it go. But maybe it feels like a nice gentle massage along your spine. And then just take a moment to begin to arrive in this present moment. You might just notice your thoughts for a minute, almost like you're watching a TV show or a movie. And then can you allow yourself to use your own internal remote control to maybe turn off any images of the past, any plans for the future, and just imagine yourself coming into the present moment, letting your thoughts fade away, allowing yourself to experience the sensation of being in your body right now. And then you might think about your thoughts, your awareness, as kind of like an anchor, and allow that anchor to drop down into your heart space. When you feel yourself arrive in that location, see if there is a specific intention for your practice that you'd like to cultivate. And then I do have this offering of a suggestion, which is the second yama, Satya, which means truthfulness. So we have 10 yamas and niyamas. These are yoga's ethical practices. And so I'll do a little reading from the book by Deborah Adele about truthfulness. She says, when we habitually silence or distort ourselves, we begin to lose our lust for life and look towards other things to fulfill us. We forget that we are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. We can feel this urge within us, wanting to bubble up and say to the world, I am here. Living the life that cries to be lived from the depths of our being, frees up a lot of energy and vitality. The juices flow, and everyone around us benefits from the aliveness that we feel. If those thoughts about truthfulness, Satya, speak to you, you're welcome to use it as an intention for your practice. And in the book by Deborah Adele, one way she describes these yamas and niyamas is as jewels. So maybe you could take a moment to picture this jewel of your intention at your heart center. Just noticing that it's a practice. This is not a fixed location. Feel with your inhale, can you sense the light from the jewel glowing brighter, filling your body with light? And on your exhale, can you imagine it softening and fading? And then you're welcome to invite a little bit of movement. At any time, if that blanket roll feels uncomfortable, feel free to move it out of the way. But from here, from our constructive rest position, we'll take the feet as wide as the mat and just begin to softly sway the knees any amount that feels true for you, side to side. You can start to turn the head in the opposite direction, just feeling the movement radiating up through the spine, maybe softening through the hips. And take this movement at the pace of your own breath. That idea, I love that line that she says, we are here on this earth to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. That kind of speaks to the uniqueness of each of us. So finding what's true for you. The next time your knees fall over to the left, go ahead and land them there. You could start to stretch your right arm long past your ear. Feel the length from your right fingertips down your right arm, stretching through your armpit along your right side waist, hip joint, right thigh down to your kneecap. You feel free to position your head wherever it feels good, either turning your gaze to the left or maybe peeking your gaze up towards your right hand. And then we'll inhale, bring the knees back to center, bring the arm to your side, soften the knees over to the right. And then this time we'll stretch the left arm long past your ear. So you can find this nice diagonal from your fingertips down the left arm, left armpit, side of the waist, hip joint, thigh, all the way down to your kneecap. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then we'll bring it back to center. You can stretch your arms out now in a letter T shape, and then we'll hug the right arm on top of the left arm. Give yourself a nice hug, draping your arms towards your left, or your opposite shoulders, I should say. And then maybe it feels good to rock the torso a little side to side, feeling that blanket roll, maybe if it's there, massaging along the spine. You might, as you rock the torso, send yourself nice, loving gratitude, showing up, gratitude for this body that is breathing you. And maybe you're allowing your torso to move either up or down the length of your mat, finding other areas that the blanket roll can massage along your spine. And then we'll find stillness, open the arms back up into a letter T. And this time we'll cross the left arm over the top of the right. See about sending this hug of gratitude out into someone special, someone living or past, someone you can feel grateful for that's come into your life or been a part of your journey. And continue to gently send that hug, that gratitude, maybe once more rocking a little side to side. And then we'll come back to stillness. You can roll all the way onto your left side, press yourself up into a seat, and if you have the blanket on your mat, go ahead and take it off, fold it up, and we'll set it off to the side. And then we can come back down to our mat, and can you find maybe a strap or something you can use as a strap? It could be the belt on a bathrobe, could even be like a little kitchen towel. Maybe you just use your hands and wrap them around your kneecaps. But I like to use the strap just to lengthen my arms and wrap that right around the shins. And then we're going to just take the knees in a little circle, massaging our sacrum. And in some classes, you can learn a little bit about the chakras. So these are sort of like energy centers of the body. The second chakra, they say, is the sacrum, that area of your low back that can be sometimes a little bit tender. And then go ahead and massage the sacrum in the other direction by just drawing little circles with the knees. So this center of the body is said to be part of our emotional center. You might think about it in terms of honesty today too. What sort of bits of honesty might be living there, truthfulness. We might even have stored at the sacral center. And then when you're ready, you can release that. Let's find a nice leg stretch. So as I mentioned, I think in the last class, I have this long strap that I'm able to wrap around my back and underneath my armpits. But you could just wrap it around the ball of your toes and hold onto it with your hands. What I like about having this nice long strap personally is that it takes less effort for me to hold on. So as you stretch your right foot up towards the sky, you can either hold on with the strap or maybe you tug onto your pant leg. You could interlace your hand behind your thigh if that reaches. Find any way to just find length through the back of the leg. And then take a moment to soften here, relaxing into the support of the earth. If you feel like it would feel good to deepen the stretch, you might glide your left leg long. It's totally optional. And we'll just take a moment to soften here. And then we're going to find two more positions with the leg extended. So you could start to allow your right leg, to open out to the right. And this might allow you to stretch through your inner thigh. If you find that it's going too far, maybe you could bring a pillow or a block to the side of the leg. Or if you have any bit of furniture that you want to rest the leg on. And then if your left foot is on the mat, you could allow the left knee to open out to the left. Or again, you might have that left leg long. Just allow for a nice deep stretch. through the inseam of your right leg. Take some nice soothing breaths, and you might start to close the mouth, breathing in and out through the nose. Seeing if you can slow the breath. Listen for the ocean-like sound, almost like you are holding a shell to your ear. And you know how when you do that, you can hear the sound of the ocean. Maybe you can listen for the sound of your own breath. On your next inhale, we'll bring the right foot back up to center, lift the left knee, and then you can start to cross the right leg. Just allow it to cross the midline. So now we're getting into the IT band, or the outer edge of the right leg. And so we're not really coming into a twist just yet, just allowing for your whole torso to rest heavy on the mat, seeing about finding that outside edge of your right leg. Notice if you can listen for your breath, tuning your awareness into those areas of sensation in the body. And then we'll bring the right leg back to center. Go ahead and reach your left foot up into the strap, and you can bring your right leg down to the mat, and we're going to switch sides. So now we can press your left foot up towards the sky, breathing down the back side of the left leg. You can keep your right foot rooted onto the ground, or maybe you glide the right leg long, choosing your own best option, giving yourself permission to notice. There's no right or wrong way. There's no better or worse way. Go ahead and take one more soothing breath, imagining it sounds like the wave of the ocean. Can you feel the ocean-like breath cascading down the back of your leg? And then we'll open the left leg out to the left, any amount. Once more, you can stop the movement by wedging maybe a block underneath. You might bring the reins of the strap just into your left hand, or keep both hands on the strap, whatever feels comfortable in your body. If your right foot is planted on the mat, you could allow the right knee to sort of open out to the right, feeling a stretch all along the inseam. Maybe the left leg, possibly even the right leg. Allow your breath to anchor you back into the present moment. It's natural to drift. Curious monkey mind likes to explore the past and plan for the future. See if you can use mindfulness to just notice that rumination, inviting yourself back into the present moment without shame or judgment, offering kindness, compassion, curiosity. When you're ready, we'll float the left leg back up to center. You can change the reins of the strap if they're in your hand to the right side, and then just allow your left leg to gently cross the midline, keeping your whole entire back body rooted. You can almost imagine like the earth is rising to press against your back, giving you a little bit of an assist so that you can let go. See about breathing down the outside edge of the left leg. And we'll take one more nice deep breath here. And then you can float the leg back to center. We'll release the foot from the strap. Toss the strap off to the side for now, and then go ahead and find a nice long body stretch. Reaching your legs long, your arms overhead. You can start to rotate the wrists and the ankles. Each time we do this, we're helping to lubricate the joints. Go ahead and reverse the direction of your ankle, wrist circles. And then with your next inhale breath, you can plant your feet on the mat. Press into your feet to just lift the hips slightly, slide them over to the right, and then we're going to stack the knees over to the left and come into a twist now. So you can extend your right arm out to the right, maybe turn your gaze over towards your right hand, and allow yourself to soften into your twist. With your next inhale breath, we'll float the right arm up and over the body. Close the hands towards each other and then reach your right fingertips past your left hand. Go ahead and glide the left hand, or the right hand, I should say, across your chest and open up into your twist. You can do this a few more times, following the pace of your own breath. Feel that soft caress of your right hand gliding across your chest, opening up into a twist. And just with that glide, can you feel any tension or stress leaving the body? It's like sweeping it away. Next time you roll onto your right side, we're going to stay there, and you can either prop your head up on your hand or you might use a block. And I like to rest my temple right on the block. And actually, I feel like that feels really good for my temple. And then you can keep your legs stacked. We're going to be all the way on our left side. And we're going to do some clamshells to help strengthen the glutes. So these can be very miniature. You can glue the heels together and then just gently open the knee. You can go a little bit higher. Just keeping the rest of the body relatively stable. Just doing a little bit to strengthen through the glutes. Sometimes this one is prescribed to help support the knees. I like to sneak it in whenever possible. Move at the pace of your own breath, as many or as few as you'd like. As big or as small as you'd like to make it. And then when you're ready, we're going to pause the movement, slide the knees back. So now they're in a straight line with the body. And then you can lift the top knee and lower it down in front. And maybe you give your little bit of fist pump onto the thigh, just a little gentle massage with your fist. And when you're ready, we'll come back to stillness. You can roll onto your back body. I'm just going to turn so I'm still facing you onto the other side. You can hug your knees into your chest here. Maybe you roll your nose up toward your knees, hugging yourself into a little ball. And then on your exhale, you can set your head back down, plant your feet on the mat, press your feet into the mat to lift your hips. And we're going to slide them a little over to the left so that you can stack the knees over to the right. Coming into a twist. Maybe you open your arms out into a letter T and you can turn your gaze over towards your left hand. So your knees are stacked to the right, opening out into a twist. We could do those little bit of rainbow arms by rainbowing the fingertips up and over, rolling over to your right side, reaching your left fingertips past your right hand, and then gliding your hand across your chest to open back up into a twist. Go ahead and find a few nice deep breaths like this. You might follow the fingertips with your gaze just to find maybe some sensation for the neck. The next time you roll all the way onto your right side, you could either prop your head up on your hand, like with your elbow, like this, or you could bring your head onto a block as a little pillow, or maybe even grab a pillow. Then we're going to do our clamshells on this side. So gluing the heels together, you can start to lift and lower the top knee. See if you can imagine what it would look like for gratitude to overflow from the heart and circle around the hip. Maybe you notice subtle differences from left to right. Can you notice those differences with compassion, kindness, and curiosity? Moving at the pace of your own breath, your own unique movement. And then whenever you feel ready, we'll close down this movement, slide the knees back so they're in a straight line with the body, and then you can lift that top knee either down to the ground or to a block or pillow, and then use your fists to give a little gentle massage all around the hip, maybe down onto the thigh, just a little loving tap. When you're ready, we'll come back to stillness, roll onto the back, and you can either rock and roll up and down the length of your spine or press yourself up to a seat. Now, to come to a seat, you can either sit on a chair, or I like to bring, if I'm going to sit cross-legged, I'm going to show you actually two different other options. You could fold a blanket to sit your hips onto, sit your sit bones, and that can help lift your hips, or maybe a pillow. And I want to show you another option that I learned in a class with blocks that can be wonderful. It could also just be like a no, and that's okay too. So this is called a hero's pose. You'd be on your knees, so that would have to be an okay position for you. You could stack two blocks, and then I'm going to put the two blocks stacked in between my heels. And sometimes I like sitting like this, sometimes I don't. So it's just depends on the day. You can sit your sit bones right on the blocks, and then let's have a strap handy. Now, at any time you feel uncomfortable in your seat, just recognize that and feel free to change positions. So if you're sitting in this supported hero's pose and it becomes uncomfortable, you don't have to power through it. Okay, if you're sitting cross-legged and it's becoming uncomfortable, or your knees or legs are falling asleep, feel free to extend the legs. They could be extended out wide. You could move to a chair instead. So the point is not to be uncomfortable, is to recognize how we feel and just give yourself permission to make a change. Once you find yourself in whatever you consider to be a comfortable seat so that you can lengthen your spine, go ahead and allow your head to gently bow towards your heart. And then we'll inhale, bring the right ear over towards the right shoulder, and you might feel that sensation along the left side of your neck. You could reach your left hand out to the side, or you could tuck your left hand behind you. And then this would be another option, is to sweep your right hand up and over and just allow the weight of your hand to gently rest. So you're just giving yourself a little bit of traction. You're not cranking or pulling on the neck, just finding a little bit of support. You might even just support your head with your hand too. Take another nice deep breath on this side, and then we'll bring the hands back to center. Bow your head towards your heart, and then softly, gently bring the left ear over towards the left shoulder. You can stay right here, reach the right fingertips away, or tuck the hand behind your back. You could lift your head up, or your hand up, sorry, and just rest it on the temple. If that feels like too much, maybe you bring your hand to the side of your cheek for support. Take a nice deep breath here. We'll release the hands into the lap, bow the head towards the heart, and then lift the gaze to center. Let's start to roll the shoulders up towards the ears and glide them down the back. One more nice deep breath in this direction, and then you can reverse the direction of your shoulder rolls, bringing them up from behind and down around in front. If you're sitting in the hero's position and your feet start to feel like they're going numb, just feel free to move the blocks off to the side and move onto your seat. And you might use a cushion to bring the legs cross-legged. So that's okay too, making sure we can be mindful of our sensations. Now we're going to bring the strap and do a little bit to stretch through the shoulders in what's called Gomukhasana, or cow face arms. So you can bring the strap into your right hand, stretch it out to the side, and then we'll dial the right hand up, bend the elbow, allow the strap to drape down your spine. You could stay right here, or if you want to catch the back of the strap, you could stretch your left arm out to the left, dial the thumb down so the palm is facing behind you, and then reach around with the strap, walking the hands together. Maybe this is where you stay, anywhere you catch the strap, finding just a little bit of stretch sensation, or maybe a lot, through the shoulders and the upper back. You might turn your gaze over the shoulder that's down, and then just peek behind your left shoulder. Maybe that feels like a nice stretch for the neck. Take one more nice deep breath here. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release your arms Release the strap. Bring your hands back into your lap. Take a moment to close down your eyes or soften your gaze and allow any sort of sensations to unwind. And we'll get ready for the other side. When you're ready, you can blink your eyes open. Bring your strap into your left hand now. We'll dial the strap up. Point the elbow up towards the sky. Allow the strap to drape down your spine. You can reach your right arm out to the side. Flip the thumb down so the palm is facing back, and then wrap your hand around to grab hold of the strap. You can keep your gaze pointing forward as you walk your hands towards each other. And then you might even peek your gaze behind or towards your right shoulder. Take a nice deep breath here. When you're ready, you can bring your gaze back to center and then release your hands from the strap. Bring both hands back into your lap and just take a moment to soften. From here, you can reach your legs out into a V shape and then just kind of bob the knees a little bit up and down. You could stay seated for your cat and cow, which would look like this. Could be with your legs out, or you could fold them back. You can inhale to lift the heart forward, exhale to round the spine back. So that would be your seated cat and cow. If it feels okay to be on hands and knees, I sometimes like to bring my forearms onto blocks. So to come onto hands and knees, you could even use the blanket and unfold it to make a gentle padding for underneath your knees. And we can do some cat and cow here. So sometimes I'll bring my forearms onto blocks just to be off of the wrists. Inhale to lower the belly into cow pose. Exhale to round the spine, coming into a Halloween cat. So take some nice deep breaths, finding your cat and cow. At any time, feel free to explore any organic movements that would feel good to you. Maybe drawing a nice big circle with the belly button, reaching into all the corners of your spine. And then feeling free to explore movement in the opposite direction. Bringing your awareness back into your body, listening for the sound of your soothing ujjayi breathing. We call this ujjayi breathing. It's the warrior's breath. Just hearing the sound of the ocean wave, breathing in and out through your nose, slowly and gently. When you're ready, we'll come back to our tabletop position. And then let's come up to standing. So to come to standing, I'm going to use the blocks underneath my hand, or you could also use the seat of a chair. Bring your left leg or your right leg forward. Tuck your back toes under. So I have my left leg forward, right toes under. I can press into my toe to lift the knee and then walk the right foot to meet the left foot. Now, I have a bigger belly, so I like to have my feet a little bit wide here to make room and space for my belly. And then you can wrap your hands around your opposite elbows and just allow yourself to dangle here. You could also bring your hands onto blocks. And I'll clear the blanket off to the side, off of my mat. And just fold it and get it out of the way. And then heel toe my feet a little bit closer so they're underneath my hips or maybe a little wider. You can press into your palms and inhale to lengthen your spine out in front. We call this halfway lift, or in Sanskrit, that's Ardha Uttanasana. Ardha is for the half, Uttanasana is like a forward fold. Actually, Uttanasana is going to be that forward fold, so let yourself dangle once more. We'll inhale, press up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. And one more time. Inhale here for halfway lift. Exhale to forward fold. Now find a little soft micro bend in your knees. Charge up your legs and then press into your legs to rise up to stand. You can reach your arms up towards the sky and then exhale, draw your hands into your heart center. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, sweep your arms as much as feels comfortable all the way up. Think about what you'd like to invite into your heart center. And then one more time like this. And then we're going to come into a standing mountain pose, like a strong stance. So bring your feet onto the mat, bring your hands to your sides, find that soft little bit of micro bend in your knees, and then imagine your tailbone is able to like tuck under a little bit to recruit some of the strength of your belly. You're kind of just gently drawing your belly button towards your spine, finding a tiny bit of engagement. Allow your shoulders to relax away from your ears. We're coming into Tadasana, mountain pose. Take a nice deep breath, and then as you inhale, can you bring your awareness, drop it into your heart center, and feel that glowing jewel shining from your heart. On the next exhale, allow it to soften and fade. And then we're going to come to the long edge of our mat. And I'm going to show this actually with the chair. We're going to do a little flow in goddess pose. So if you like, you can step your feet out wide. And if you want to use the support of the chair, you could bring your sit bones right onto the edge of the chair. Coming into our goddess position. Just going to get this sweater off, getting a little bit warmer. So let's stretch the arms and the legs out wide. And then you can cactus the arms down. So you're drawing the shoulder blades together. You can bend into the knees, sink down into the hips. And if you're sitting on the chair, imagine you could press firmly with your feet into the ground as if you were going to press off of the chair. And that might engage the muscles of your legs. If you're in your squat, off of the chair, go ahead and lengthen the legs, reach the arms out long. We call this star pose. Imagine you're able to radiate that light from your heart. And then we're going to exhale to come into goddess. And this time, thinking about your truth, your Satya, your honesty. Okay, we're going to stick out the tongue And imagine any of those things that you've been wanting to say that you haven't been able to say. You're just going to exhale them with your breath. Sticking out the tongue, we call that lion's breath. Inhale, lengthen into star. Exhale, soften into goddess. Sticking out the tongue, exhaling through the mouth. Feeling the stretch maybe in your jaw. Releasing tension from the temples. Stretch it out into your star. Exhale into your goddess. And then you can release your arms into your lap. Kind of soften your legs if you were feeling like you're really turning the legs on there. And then we're going to rotate so the right shoulder is twisting over towards the left knee. It's a little rotation for the upper body. Inhale to come back to center. Exhale, twist to the other side. And you can do this a few more times, holding for as long as you'd like, just following the pace of your own breath. Listen for the soothing wave of the ocean-like breath. And then we'll come back to center. You can walk your feet back underneath your hips. And I'm going to move the chair off to the side. Actually, maybe I'll move the chair up in front to show. We're going to come into Tadasana and then Warrior One. So let's step to the front of the mat. You might have blocks or a chair in front of you. Take a moment to pause in Tadasana. Plant your palms over your heart center and just listen for that unique rhythm of your heartbeat. So similar to everyone else's, but completely unique to you. Thinking about that statement, we are here to self-express in a way no one else ever has or ever could. And then you can blink your eyes open, bring your hands to your hips. We'll step the left foot back, the right foot forward, and your feet are kind of on train tracks here. Your back heel is kind of at an angle, and then you could bend any amount into that front leg. You could also do this on a chair if you wanted to, a lunge in a chair. And then you could either keep your hands at your hips, you could invite them to your heart center, or you might lift your arms if that feels okay for your shoulders, lifting your heart, gazing up. We're finding ourselves in Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. You can allow your shoulders to melt away from your ears. And then we're going to find Humble Warrior. So a couple different options here. You can fly your hands back. You could interlace your hands behind you. You could bring your hands to your hips. Or as you begin to hinge forward, you could bring your hands onto blocks or the seat of a chair. Oh no. Let me make sure my headphone is connected. Fell out. Okay, good. You should still be able to hear me. So in your humble warrior, you're letting your torso rest on your front thigh, allowing your head to bow. Feel the strength of your solid base and allow your whole torso to rest heavy. And then we'll pivot so that you're on the ball of your left foot. And you can hop that left foot forward to come back into your forward fold, maybe walking your feet wide, making room for your torso, for your belly. You could interlace your hands along your opposite elbows and just take a moment to ragdoll here. We'll bring it back to center. Plant the palms on blocks, the chair, your shins. Find that base of support to inhale and lengthen your spine up halfway. Exhale to forward fold. Then we'll find a soft bend in the knees. Press yourself up to stand. Salute the sun. And then exhale, draw your hands to meet at your heart. Take a moment to pause. Rest your hands on your heart. Sense gratitude overflowing from your heart center. And just notice if just like a little fountain of gratitude, you can think of 3 things that you can see overflowing from your fountain. Or 3 things that you can feel grateful for. Maybe it's the rhythm of your heartbeat. Carving out this special time and place for yourself. And then go ahead and blink your eyes open, and we'll set up to do the other side so we can feel grateful for the fact that we have 2 sides. This time we're going to step the left foot forward, the right foot back. Start to bend into the front knee. You can keep your hands at your hips, your back toes sort of pointed at an angle, your feet on train tracks so you have a nice wide base of support. You can keep your hands at your hips, invite them to meet at your heart, or float your arms up towards the sky, allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears. Finding your version of Warrior One. Noticing it's just a practice, arriving here. You might sense into any differences from left to right. Make any adjustments to make it comfortable for yourself. And then you could float your hands back. Some people like to interlace their hands at their low back. It's kind of could be a big ask for the shoulders. So you could bring your hands to your hips and then start to melt forward. Maybe grabbing your hands some support of the blocks or the chair, allowing your torso to rest on your front thigh. You could even use the chair here to bring your hands to rest, your forearms to rest on the seat of the chair. I love this pose because it's sort of a reminder, humble warrior, to stay humble, to allow ourselves to rise up into Warrior One, and then sometimes life comes along and we find the need to be humbled. But we can still have this strong base of support in our legs, softening through the heart, the head, and the torso. And then when you're ready, we'll pivot the back toes so that you're lifting the back heel, and then you can hop that foot up, maybe a few hops, to find your forward fold. We'll inhale here for halfway lift, and then exhale to forward fold. Let's go ahead and plant the palms, and then you can kind of frame the right foot, step the left foot back, and maybe soften the knee down towards the ground. You could always do the other one. Then I'm going to bring the blocks in between my feet, shimmy that back knee back, and you can either find a child's pose Or maybe if it doesn't feel good to bend the knees, you could come all the way onto the belly and rest your hands or your forehead on your hands. So you could either come into child's pose, maybe they're extending the arms out in front, bringing the big toes to touch, open the knees out wide. Or if that's too much pressure on the knees, feel free to come all the way onto the belly. And stack the palms. Lower your forehead down to rest on the back of your hands. We call this one crocodile pose. So finding what works for you. If stacking the palms still doesn't feel like enough space is created for your forehead to rest, you could make fists and stack your fists and allow your forehead to rest on the back of your fists. So take a nice deep breath wherever you're at, either in your crocodile pose or your child's pose. And then if you're in child's pose, I'd love for us all to come and rest on the belly. And I'm just going to move some of my props out of the way. So once you come onto the belly, go ahead and bring your palms right underneath your shoulders. We'll roll the shoulders up towards the ears and glide them down the back. And then you can start to lift your heart using the strength of your back for a baby cobra. On the next exhale breath, go ahead and turn your gaze to the left. Bring your right temple down to the ground, or maybe a block if it feels like the ground is too far away. And then we'll do that once more. Inhale, lift the shoulders, roll them up, glide the shoulder blades down the back. As you lift the heart for a baby cobra, use the strength of your spine, softly, gently, resting your hands on the earth. And then on your next exhale, you can turn your gaze to the right. Soften your left temple down to the ground or a block. Softening all of your effort here. And on your next inhale breath, we'll keep the palms underneath the shoulders. You can tuck the toes under and press up to tabletop. And then we'll walk the knees forward to come onto our seat. You can swing your legs around. This could be a good opportunity right here to also use our strap. So you could wrap your strap around the ball mounds of your feet, just like you're kind of have your reins on a horse, or feel free to tuck your hands behind your thighs. We're going to come into boat pose next, Navasana. So think about lifting your heart, floating above the water, just like you're in a boat, and you can kind of lean your torso back. You could stay right here. You could challenge yourself by stretching your arms out, or you might bring your legs up so that your shins are parallel to the earth. This is going to take a bit of effort. Maybe strengthen your core. Whenever you're ready, you can roll gently onto your back. Either hug behind your knees or walk your hands up towards your feet where you can keep your hands on the strap, drawing your knees towards your armpits for happy baby. And maybe you gently rock a little bit side to side, massaging through the back. You could also reach your hands around your ankles, keep them back behind the thighs, or maybe you grab hold of your feet, just depending on what is true for you, what feels right for you in your body today, and honoring that honesty. Your Satya, your truthfulness. Since we call this one Ananda Balasana, happy baby, you might let a soft, warm smile wash across the lips, smiling warmly at yourself in this childlike shape. And then when you're ready, you can release your feet. We're going to come into a figure four pose next. And I like to use the support of the bed here or couch. So to do this, I'm going to shimmy myself around so that my feet can rest almost like tabletop on the support of the bed. Then I'll extend my legs long and bring the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Draw the shape in towards the body so that you're feeling hopefully a nice stretch through the right hip. And you can kind of deepen the stretch by flexing your right toes towards your knee, maybe even pressing the right knee away from you energetically. Now, traditionally, people will hug the shape into the body. And this is why I like to use a wall or furniture, something you can really press against so that your whole entire upper body can soften and relax. Thinking about how we can balance our effort, stira, and our ease, sukha, stira and sukha, our effort and ease. Can we let go of any extra work, any extra holding that we don't need in the body? Beginning to relax the forehead, the eyelids, the hinge of your jaw, resting your shoulders against the earth. Now, if you've been in yoga classes before and you love the pigeon pose, we might bring that into later classes. But this is similar stretch through the hip. It might be a little bit more accessible, but if you love pigeon and you know how to do it, go ahead and get yourself into that shape. And if you're curious about it, maybe we'll try it out with supports next week. Begin to allow yourself to soften and come back down to the earth. Feeling like the earth is almost like has its hand pressing against your back, allowing you to let go. And then when you feel ready, you can stretch your legs long, maybe rock them a little side to side, and we'll change sides. So bringing the left ankle to rest on the right thigh, bending into the right knee as you draw the shape closer into your body till you feel the right sensation. And I forgot to mention, you could even do this shape from a chair. It would literally just be crossing your ankle over the top of your thigh or wherever it would feel good to cross so that you feel just the right amount of stretch in your left hip. Start to imagine the water feature of gratitude, like a spring from your heart center. You imagine what that would look like as it circles the hip. Gratitude overflowing from the heart. Maybe as it moves, you can see three things in your mind's eye that you feel grateful for. Take as long as you'd like, and if there are any last shapes that you've done in other classes that you want to include before your final rest, you're welcome to include those now. For your final resting position, Shavasana, you can have three different choices. One, coming to lie flat on your back, maybe using a bolster or pillow underneath the knees for support. Cozying up with a blanket could feel nice, just like a weighted blanket over the body. A second option would be that same position we started in. So that's the constructive rest pose. That can be sometimes a little gentler on the low back. And that's essentially keeping your feet flat, keeping the knees bent. And if you're using furniture or a wall space, I'm going to offer you legs up the wall or legs on a couch as a gentle inversion. And you can do this for part or all of your Shavasana. So to get into the shape, I'm going to roll onto my left side, shimmy my my hips actually directly against the couch or bed, and then dial my legs up so that the back of my sit bones, the back of my thighs are resting against the support, and then my legs are resting on top of it, or if you're at a wall, they would be up the wall. Now, if you have a strap, you can also offer yourself a little bit of support in this. You could take the strap, wrap it around your thighs, and then tighten it. You could also do this if you had like a stretchy band. Sometimes you have those for your physical therapy, some kind of TheraBand or something. But this could just allow you to, again, release your effort by keeping your legs together without having to use any effort from the body. So see what shape speaks to you. What is your truth? Allow yourself to cozy up with support. Sometimes it could even be extra nice to drape something over the eyes to block out the light. So maybe you have the tail end of the strap, or you might have a nice eye pillow that you can rest on the eyes. Give yourself this moment in time to soften, relax into our corpse pose, Shavasana. Softening the eyelids, forehead, the hinge of your jaw. Sense the earth cradling you with support. when we are real rather than nice, when we choose self-expression over self-indulgence, when we choose growth over the need to belong, when we choose fluidity over rigidity, we begin to understand the deeper dynamics of truthfulness. And we begin to taste the freedom and goodness of this jewel. We are each here on this earth to self-express in a way no one ever has or ever could. Begin to deepen your breath and bring your awareness into your heart center. As you inhale, imagine that jewel that you planted at your heart center glowing brightly, filling the body with light. And as you exhale, imagine it's going to deepen, darken, and fade. Take 3 nice deep breaths like this. And go ahead and start to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, rotate your wrists and your ankles. And take a nice deep breath as you stretch the arms away from the legs. If you're resting with your legs up the wall, you can roll onto one side. We'll all roll onto one side. Find yourself in a fetal position. Cradle your head on your upper arm. And take 3 nice deep breaths on your side. Whenever you feel ready, move slowly, softly. Press yourself up into a seat. You can inhale to sweep your arms up, gathering in all the goodness, all the abundance, bringing it into your heart, inviting your hands to meet at your heart center in Anjali Mudra. We call this a gesture of gratitude. Your hands resting at your heart space. You might also picture your hands like this, almost as a flame. The light in me sees and honors and appreciates the light in each and every one of you. With that, you can bow your head towards the wisdom of your loving heart. It's such an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to guide you through your practice. Thank you all so much for being here with me. We say Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, which means peace, peace, peace. Enough for ourselves, each other, and the rest of the world. So feel free to let me know if you have any thoughts or questions.